All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of our Jacksonville Jaguars simulation series. We're starting on this clip today. Gotta love it. As you can see, top story in the NFL right now. A year to remember, the NFL has announced that Juan Delian is the MVP for the 2016 season. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Juan Delian, your starting QB of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the league MVP. Now, before we get into all that, we're going to start off this wonderful episode number 12 the exact same way we start all of our episodes, by going through our box scores nice and quickly. We've had some injury issues over the second half of the season. We got off pretty unscathed in the first half. The second half of the season, we had some injuries kind of caused us to lose a couple games. As you can see, we finished the season 14-2. The quest for the perfect season did not come to fruition. But with that said, still extremely proud of the record that this team was able to put together. Week number 10, Jags at the Colts, 31-18 loss. This was our first loss of the season. And week number 10, some injuries that popped up. Again, all this information, as always, found on the PDF. Marcel Jones, Chris Greenwood, Keithan Cross, Brandon Banks, and Bruce Campbell all went down. 3 left side offensive linemen going down. Never a good thing to happen. Juan Delian, 428 through the air. That's ridiculous. 2 touchdowns is great. 2 picks, that's too many. Andrew Luck, on the other hand, more conservative day in terms of yardage, 195, but he also kicked in 2 touchdowns. Running the ball, Denard Robinson, 14 carries, 57 yards. Jaden Madru for the Colts, 26 yards off 12 carries. Not a great day for either of those running backs, but hey, through the air, boom. Randall Cobb, 161 yards off 12 catches. Justin Blackman, 146 off 11. 2 great days from our top 2 guys who had phenomenal seasons. Cobb also kicking in 2 touchdowns. Derek Carrier, not a ton of yardage, but still kicking in 9 catches, 45 yards. Drake Haskell in the slot, 8 catches, 55 yards. Sick day for them. David Lofton had an excellent day for the Colts. 6'6", 242 out of Texas A&M. Huge kid. 124 through the air off 6 catches and 1 touchdown. Also receiving touchdowns in this game, Juwan Story of the Colts fullback there, 1 catch for 2 yards. Defensively, as you can see, Martazi Bourne leading the game with 11 tackles, leading the way for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rookie sensation Jonathan Cyprin with 6 tackles for a loss in this one. 2 for Jesse Williams, 1 for Vaughn Martin, 1 for Lynn Val Joseph, 1 for Ware, 1 for Shorter. Ware and Shorters both counting as sacks. No more sacks to report in this one. INTs 4, of course, as we discussed. 1 for Eric Berry, 1 for Tremont Williams. And, pardon me, just 2 to report. Sorry, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's right. John Abreu went 1 for 1. Justin Tucker missed a kick. 1 for 2 in this one. Punting-wise, boom, boom. Kick returns, boom. And punt returns, boom. We'll stop and report anything that's fun to report, as always, in those categories. As it stands, nothing. Next game. No, I didn't mean to back out there. Next game, we're sitting at an 8-1 record at this point. Week 11, we find ourselves at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. We get right back on the horse after falling off that 13-point loss to the Colts, winning 31-10 against the Chiefs. We got player stats here. Juan Delian, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Gotta love how he gets right back on that. Brandon Weeden, starting quarterback of the Chiefs, 217 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, but 2 picks. Running the ball, Stephen Ridley, very nice game, 65 yards off 14 carries. Bari Suber also took in a large role in this one, 34 yards off 11 carries. This was because of an injury to Denard Robinson that kept him out for 1 week. Joe McKnight, starting for the Chiefs, 57 yards off 19 carries for him. Receiving-wise, Derek Carrier led the game with 6 catches, just 27 yards. Leading the game in yardage, T.Y. Hilton, formerly the Indianapolis Colts, starting now for the Chiefs, 128 yards off 4 catches, 1 touchdown as well. Not a big day for any of our receivers. Randall Cobb, our biggest, had the biggest day of anybody. 3 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. Reese also kicking in 41 yards through the air. Defensively, nice performance from both sides. Kevin Burnett, 12 tackles. Julian Stanford, Dwayne Gratz, Demetrius McCray, all tying for 6 for the Jacksonville Jaguars lead. Sacks in this one, just 2 to report. Earls O'Shorter, the beast off the left side, and Wesley Woodyard getting in there as well. INTs in this one, 2 for Terrell Jefferson, the former first overall pick. Gotta love it. Ryan Suckup, Justin Tucker each go 1 for 1. Punting, boom. Kick return, boom. Punt return, boom. Nothing crazy to report. On to the next week. By the way, in that game, another rash of injuries came through. My goodness, did they ever. Brandon Mosley out for 4 weeks with a fractured forearm. Xavier Gooden out for 2 weeks with a pulled groin. Linval Joseph out with a foot fracture for 2 weeks. Von Martin out 2 weeks with an abdominal tear. That means 3 of our defensive tackles went down basically simultaneous. Or probably 2 of our defensive tackles went down simultaneously, as well as one of our offensive linemen, just 1 week after we lost 3 of them. And then finally, DeMarcus Ware, another defensive lineman, out for just that game with a pulled groin. So you can see a one-sided game, fortunately for the Colts. Fortunately for the Chiefs, we had a rash of injuries that no doubt affected that game. Next, we hosted the Chargers, got back home, torched them, 47-7 final score. Unfortunately, that rash of injuries ended for a little while. Othniel Richmond, the second-year quarterback out of Rice, got roasted, 123 yards, 3 picks through the air. Delian, 221 yards. Conservative day from that side of it, but 3 touchdowns to 1 pick. Gotta love that ratio. Denard Robinson had a 100-yard game, 110 on the ground off 24 carries. Evan Royster out of Penn State, 42 carries, 13 yards. Stephen Ridley, just 3 yards a carry. But hey, still a decent day with 24 yards on the ground. Receiving-wise, Drake Haskell led the game, 7 catches, 68 yards, 1 touchdown. Cobb was second at 549. Blackman third, 4 for 43 and a touchdown. Derek Carrier, 37 yards off 4 catches. Leading the way for the Chargers was Paul Caldwell with 58 yards. Kicking in touchdowns for the Jags, Cecil Shorts. And where's the third one? That's interesting. Cecil Shorts had 1. Go back to the top of the list. There we go. Blackman and Haskell. My apologies. I already addressed those. Defensively, Eric Weddle, 10 tackles. Manti Te'o, 9 tackles. Derek Cox, 8 tackles. Leading the way for the Jags, Antoine Blake, Darrell Washington. It's been so much fun to see the tackling battle over these 4 years of this series shift from one side to the other. Used to be we always had the 2 to 3 leading tacklers in the game. Now that our offense is more explosive, defense better at getting off the field, those totals are never the case anymore. Andre Branch, 1 sack in this one. The only sack in the entire game. INTs in this one, 4 total. We had 1 for Steve Williams. The remainder, Dwayne Gratz, Demetrius McCray, Earlzo Shorter, getting his 2nd pick of the season. My goodness, how does a defensive end get 2 picks in a season? Who knows? Earlzo Shorter just that good. Justin Tucker, 4 of 5, punting the ball, boom. Kick returns, boom. And punt returns, boom. There we go. On to the next one. So at this point, the Jacksonville Jaguars sitting with a 10-1 record. Following game, after torching the Chargers, we torched the Cardinals. Cardinals coming to visit all the way from Arizona. 37-7, the final score. Not even fair, folks. Not even care. Blake Acosta, 48 yards through the air, 2 picks. This is a guy who completed just 5 of 23 passes. I've never seen a completion percentage this low. 21%. That's embarrassing. Juan Delian, 343 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Gotta love that. Gotta love that. MVP-like numbers. Denard Robinson, 82 yards off 20 carries. Chris Ivory led the way for the Cardinals, 48 yards off 16 carries. Receiving-wise, boom, Justin Blackman, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12 catches. Randall Cobb over 100 as well, 104 yards off 9 catches, 1 touchdown. Robinson, 21. Carrier, 33. The leading receiver for the Cardinals, Ryan Swope, at 24 yards off 2 catches. Defensively, 11 tackles for Kevin Minter, middle linebacker for the Cards. Julian Stanford led the way for the Jaguars. Stanford in for the injured Xavier Gooden for the previous week and this one. 10 tackles for him, gotta love it. Sacks, 2 for Stanford, gotta love it again. Earlzo Shorter kicking in 1. DeMarcus Ware kicking in the other, fresh off his injury. Picks in this one, Kevin Minter had 1. McCray and Blake kicking the other 2. Kicking, Justin Tucker, 3 for 3. Punting, boom. Kick return, boom. Punt return, boom. Nothing very interesting to report. Following this, 11-1, Jacksonville Jaguars. 3rd game of that homestand, they take the 3rd one, too. Oh, pardon me, they did not take the 3rd one, too. Sorry, looking 1 week past. They lost their final game of the homestand to the Denver Broncos by a score of 36-24, falling at this point to a 11-2 record. Broncos 36, Jags 24. Player stats in this one, Ty Ponder, 116 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Meanwhile, Juan Delian, 465 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Kind of a drag that Delian throws 3 times the yardage. Ponder does. However, he throws the 2 picks. Gotta hate that. Monty Ball, 21 carries, 146 yards. That's the difference right there, folks. He rushed for a touchdown as well. Denard Robinson, 40 yards off 7 carries. He got a touchdown as well as Ridley, getting in there 15 yards off 5 carries. But it just wasn't enough. Receiving-wise, Blackman, 110 off 11. Cobb, 124 off 10 and a touchdown. Haskell, 95 off 9. Ridley, 52 off 7. Carrier, 43 off 6. My goodness, just through the air, we torched him, but it just wasn't enough in the end. Defensively, Stevie Brown, Xavier Gooden, Christopher Owens, Brandon Browner led the game with 8 tackles apiece. Sacks in this one, none to report. Probably a big part of the reason why we were unable to take this one. Aaron Williams, DJ Moore had the picks in this one. Kicking the ball, 3 for 3 for Roy Sins. Justin Tucker, 1 of 3. Not good enough. Punting-wise, boom. Kick returns, boom. Punt returns, boom, in a Nicky game. Fortunately for us, though, at 11-2, this was the last game we would lose this season. From then on, we went on the road to Seattle, where we beat the Seahawks by a score of 33-15. Gotta love that. Delian goes for 136 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Kyle Orton in for the injured Russell Wilson, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Not nearly as good. Running-wise, Marshawn Lynch had a solid game, 107 yards off 21 carries. Ridley, 66 off 18, in for the injured Denard Robinson. By the way, Linval Joseph, from this point on in the season, out with a dislocated hip. He will be back for the Super Bowl if we are fortunate enough to make it there. Denard Robinson out this game and the following one with a broken thumb. Jesse Williams misses next game with a broken thumb. And unfortunately, Earlzo Shorter goes out in the final game of the season, out for the year with a hamstring tear. Gotta hate that. The second-year guy having a great season will not finish off the season for us, unfortunately. Going on from there, receiving-wise, Derek Carrier, 69 yards, 10 catches on 1 touchdown. Blackman, 81 yards. Cobb, 56. Sidney Rice led the way for the Seahawks, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. R.J. Smith kicking in 79 yards as well, though no touchdowns for him. Defensively, leading the game, Bobby Wagner, middle linebacker for the Seahawks, 12 tackles. Junior Gillette, the former Saint, kicking in 9 as well. Gratz Cyprin leading the way for the Jacksonville Jaguars with 8 apiece. Sacks in this one, 1 to report. Bruce Irvin, former Buffalo Bill, if you're familiar with our series. Dwayne Gratz, Julian Stanford kicking in INTs. Kicking-wise, Justin Tucker gets back on the horse, 4 of 4. Sean Swisham, 3 of 4, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, getting at it. Punting the ball, boom. Kick returns, boom. Punt returns, boom. That is all. 2 more games left in the season with a 12-2 record. Of course, we know the Jags take this one. Here's the game story. At Oakland to play the Raiders, 38-7 the final score. Jags take it. Delian, 418, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Thomas Bodison, 133, no touchdowns, 1 pick. Another huge day for the boys in teal. Alfred Morris, 63 yards. Stephen Ridley, 61. Bari Suber getting in there, 6 carries, 40 yards. The former Jacksonville Jaguar, Maurice Jones-Drew, who signed the big contract a couple of years ago with the Raiders after being traded there. He gets 11 yards off 6 carries, 1 touchdown, but 1 fumble. Receiving-wise, we have Randall Cobb, 146 yards off 14 catches, 2 touchdowns. Justin Blackman, 134 for 9. Derek Carrier, 51 off 5. Josh Cribbs, leading receiver for the Oakland Raiders, 5 catches, 64 yards for him. Haskell, kicking in 70. Defensively, Jerron McMillan leads the way with 13 tackles for the Raiders. Xavier Gooden, Darrell Washington, each kicking 6 tackles to lead the way for the Jags. Sacks in this one, 1 for DeMarcus Ware, 1 for Justin Houston of the Raiders. INTs, Rashad Jones, Dwayne Gratz, kicking them in for the Oakland Raiders and Jags, respectively. Justin Tucker back on the horse officially now, 3 of 3. Punting-wise, boom. Kick returns, boom. Punt returns, boom. 1 more game on the season. Jags sitting at 14-2, and actually, we'll get more into this when we check out the standings in just a moment. This was a game that actually solidified, this past game rather, against the Raiders. We won, however, we at this point had clinched second place in the conference. Going into this last game, Jags had no chance at first in the AFC, and we'll get to why in just a moment. At home against the Mounties, huge win. Juan Delian, 298. Aristotle, in what has to be the greatest name ever, Tamarcus Aristotle, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Running the ball, Stephen Ridley, 63 yards. Bryce Brown, by the way, I love that the Mounties out of Toronto are shortened to be Canada. That is their abbreviation because why not? Bari Suber kicking in 9 carries for 34 yards, 1 touchdown. Zach Stacy, 30 off 5. Receiving-wise, Randall Cobb, 8 catches, 132 yards. Derek Carrier, 6 for 23. Kicking in touchdowns for this one, Justin Blackman and Abraham Lopez for the Mounties. And that be it. Defensively, Alec Ogletree, the former Ram, 13 tackles. These are, of course, the former St. Louis Rams. Darrell Washington leading the way for the Jags with 8 tackles. Sacks in this one. 1 for Ogletree. And that is it for the game. INTs in this one. None to report. Kicking-wise, Justin Tucker, 3 of 3. Greg the Leg Zerline, another former Bill from our series, 2 for 2. Punting-wise, boom. Kick returns, boom. Punt returns, boom. Jags still waiting for a breakout returner performance. We've not seen one yet. Maybe we'll see one in the last year of this series, which is coming up. Episodes 13 through 15 over the next 3 weeks. From there, we'll cut to the season stats. By the way, we have, of course, sunk the second spot in the playoffs. We're going to get to that in a moment. For those of you who are anxious to see how the rest of the season plays out for the Jags, you have my full permission to scrub ahead in this video. Check it out. For those of you who want to take it a little slower, build up the anticipation, you're more than welcome to join me to do that. Season stats, where we're coming up next. As we have reported, Juan Delian, of course, takes the MVP for this one, and you got to love some of these season stats. We're going to start off with our passers, of course. Delian threw every pass for the Jags this season, aside from Matt Scott, who apparently came in to throw 1 incompletion. Delian, 69% completion percentage. That is off the charts. 5,469 yards. That is one of the greatest passing seasons in the history of the National Football League. 38 touchdowns to 14 picks. Gotta love that. That's 2.5 touchdowns for every interception. Not a bad ratio. Sacked just once every 2 games with 9 of those. And wow. I actually, to be honest, I've yet to check out his season against historical best seasons. If somebody wants to leave a comment, let me know. I would be amazed to see where the 550 and 793 come in the pass completion and attempts historically. This spread offense just it's amazing what it's been able to accomplish in terms of statistics, offensive production. Amazing. This offense would go down as one of the best of all time, along with the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams. This would go down with the West Coast offense of the San Francisco 49ers of the mid-'80s. This would go down with the 2007 New England Patriots, the 2013 Denver Broncos is one of the all-time greatest passing offenses. You got to love it. Denard Robinson, 887 yards off 197 carries. Not a 1,000-yard season, but he didn't get a ton of carries to really make that happen. 4.5 yards per carry, very nice. 5 touchdowns, and most importantly, just 2 fumbles. Stephen Ridley, 127 carries, 480 yards, 6 touchdowns, and again, 1 fumble. Bari Suber, 30 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble for the rookie out of New Hampshire. Delian kicking in 70. Marcel Reese kicking in 45 and a score. Davon Armstrong also kicking in 1 score off 4 carries. Receiving-wise, Blackman finished with the team lead in catches with 131 as well as touchdowns with 13. Cobb, however, finishes first on the team and in the league with 1,577 receiving yards, 124 catches for him, 12 touchdowns. We'll get to the league stats in just a quick moment. Derek Carrier, 93 catches, 676 yards, 2 touchdowns out of the tight end and slot positions. Drick Haskell, for a slot receiver, look at these numbers, 81 catches, 823 yards, 3 touchdowns. This big body from Central Connecticut State, tiny school, but a big man. 6'4", 204, one of our draft picks. Man, he's panned out well. Robinson, 234, 2 touchdowns out of the backfield. Ridley, 152. Shorts, 186, but 5 touchdowns for him. Amazing number for a guy who caught just 21 passes. Marcel Reese, 182, 1 touchdown as well. Gates kicked in a bit. Fuller kicked in a bit in spot action. Brandon Banks, Randy McNary did not get into any games this year, in the receiving capacity at least. Blocking-wise, sacks allowed 3 for Gabe Vizioso. Again, There were points in this season where we really had a patchwork offensive line. Part of what I'm most proud of, however, is that Eugene Monroe, who missed all of last season with a completely busted up knee, was able to stay healthy the entire season. As you can see, games played. Monroe did not start the first game of the season. Aside from that, he played and started in every single game. You got to love that. However, everyone else basically missed time. At least any other starters. Campbell missed time. Jokel missed time. Mosley missed time. As you can see, Cross missed half the season. Rob Hardy missed 4 games in the first half of the year. So kudos to Brandon Brooks, Marcel Jones, all of our depth players, including Vigioso and Monroe, for them coming in. And hey, allowing 9 sacks in an entire NFL season, pretty impressive work from the guys up front. Defensively, Darrell Washington leads the team with 101 tackles. Sacks-wise, we'll go through all the tackles in a moment. Sacks, 10 for Earl Shorter, the second-year man out of Kansas State, former 4th overall pick. DeMarcus Ware got 9. Gooden with 4, though he missed time. Andre Branch, 3. Wesley Woodyard, 2. Stanford, 2. Washington, 1. Ray Edwards got 1 as well, the free agent signing from this past offseason. INTs in this one. Dwayne Gratz leading the team in the 2016 season. 7 picks. That's outstanding. McCray, 3. Shorter and Jefferson each get 2. Greenwood, Stanford, and Blake each kick in 1. Tackles now. I won't run down this whole list because it'll get obnoxious, but McCray was 79. That is ridiculous out of the corner spot. Gooden was 78. Blake, 64. Cypern, 59. Gratz, 58. Woodyard, 55. Jefferson, 52. And I'll let you guys read the rest as I just scroll down here. Otherwise, it's going to take me forever to spit these out. And I only ever spit these out at a relatively successful rate at the best of times. So there you have it. Kicking-wise, Justin Tucker, excellent season. 37 of 42, 88%. That's what we want to see from our kicker. Carter Porter in a rookie campaign that saw him punt the ball 74 times. Not bad at all. Almost 46 yards as an average. We'll take that, no problem. Kick returns, lackluster. 26.8 yards per kick return for Banks. Though he missed so much time this season, that average really has an asterisk beside it for me. Cobb was decent in his returns. Jefferson had a couple attempts. Davon Armstrong actually had the most returns with 20. Though next season, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board to try and find an explosive returner. Suber, Banks, Cobb, Armstrong, you can see the same 4 suspects as before, with Suber taking the place of Jefferson in the return game. A bit lackluster, to be perfectly honest. Now let's quickly go over to the NFL listings for all player stats. Check out our league leaders. Passing leaders. Yardage-wise, your leader, of course, Juan Delian. 700 yards more than the next leading passer. That was Ben Roethlisberger, who had 4,700 yards. Leading the way in touchdowns, again, not a shocker. Juan Delian, 7 more touchdowns than the next leading passer, Matt Ryan, who had 31. Roethlisberger, Griffin, and Brady rounding out that group. INTs, you can see, obviously, Delian, 14 picks. It's a pretty substantial amount, but when you compare that to 25 from Roethlisberger, 23 from Manuel, 20 from Cutler, 19 for Thomas Bodison, 19 from Cam Newton. He falls pretty far down the list, particularly for guys who threw the ball as much as he did. My goodness. No doubt in my mind he would have led the league in attempts. Though actually, no, Ben Roethlisberger comes close, but no cigar. 793 for Delian, 767 for Roethlisberger. So for a guy who led the league in attempts, 14 picks, not a bad number at all. 69% completions. That comes out on top for anybody who's done really any starting this season, with the lone exception of Tom Brady, who finished with 3,500 yards, 27 touchdowns, 10 INTs. 72% from Brady. That is ridiculous. Kudos to him. Running the ball, LaShawn McCoy leading the league in yardage, 1,418 yards. Trent Richardson, Marshawn Lynch, David Wilson, and Bryce Brown rounding out the top 5. Credit to them. We do not have an explosive run game. Now, with our spread offense, I think that's to be expected. However, kudos to the teams who are having a lot of success moving the ball along the ground. Rushing totals seem down, generally speaking, across the board. Ridley, you can see there with his 6 touchdowns poking out. Denard Robinson just below that. But hey, kudos to those guys who are running the ball well. Leading the league in fumbles, I always love to check out this stat. Giovanni Bernard Kennel Hunter, Jamal Charles. Finished with the unfortunate total of 5 there. Receiving-wise, this makes me so freaking happy. It's not even funny. Leading the league in receptions, boom. Justin Blackmon, Randall Cobb, 131, 124 respectively. Next leading receiver was Doug Baldwin of the Green Bay Packers with 107. Fred Davis, Golden Tate also getting up there. Leading the league in yardage, guess who? Randall Cobb. Victor Cruz sneaks into the second spot with 1,555, but Justin Blackmon getting the third spot. 2 of the top 3 receivers in the NFL. Man, what a feat. TDs, again, guess who? Blackmon, Cobb with 13 and 12, sitting at the top of the league. You got to love that. You got to respect that. Pretty amazing what these guys are doing. Decker, Garcon, and Cruz rounding out that top 5. Blocking-wise, I always love to check out who's allowed the most sacks in the league just because it's hilarious. Samuel Burdetsky, second-year man out of Nevada, playing left tackle for the New York Jets, allowed 20 sacks. That is unbelievable. Wow, that's a full 4 over anybody else. Wow. Not very impressive, but wow. Stephen Tulo, Luke Kuechly, Barkevius Mingle, Larry English, Desmond Bishop leading the league in tackles. Darrell Washington had, of course, 101 leading us this year. Fortunately for us, Washington did not miss a game this year. First time in a few seasons he's managed to do that. Sacks in this one, 18. Jason Pierre-Paul, Thaddeus Gibson, the former Jaguar, went out to the Tampa Bay Bucks in a trade this offseason. He had 17. Credit to him for turning his game up there. I think he had 8 after the first 3 games of the season, so he dropped off. But, hey, credit to him for playing that way out there. And here, as you can see, this is a weird part of the game. I don't understand it. Some of the code for Madden is messed up here. As you saw earlier, there were 10 sacks for Earls O'Shorter. There were 9 for DeMarcus Ware. They're not showing up here. If I go back to the Jags screen, they will show up. But for whatever reason, they're not listed on the NFL site. You can see there are 10 for Shorter, 9 for Ware. They're just not listed on the NFL page. Again, I do not know why. It's just a bugger up with the game. So that is the way it is. INTs in this one. I don't think our players will show up here as well. Mason Foster with 8. No, there you go. Dwayne Gratz with 7. He's there, which is pretty stellar. Second in the league in that total. Kicking-wise, field goal percentage, there were some kickers more accurate than Justin Tucker. Some 90+. Which is great. Hey, good for them. I'm happy with Tucker's 88% performance. Leading the way in the NFL, John Abreu, Dan Bailey, Dwight Onka, Roy Sins, and Blair Walsh. Punting-wise, leading the way. Interested to see here where our former punter, Brian Anger, finished out. Anger finishes 47.1. And as you can see, our guy, Porter. There he is, Carter Porter, close to the bottom of the league, but we are paying him, I think this season, we're paying him $400,000. That is less than 15% of the money that was desired by Brian Anger when he left. And that extra yard per punt, I don't think that hurt us this year. Just some speculation from my side of things. Kick returns this season. Lots of kick returns for TDs. Would have loved to have one on our squad. Unfortunately, no such luck. And same thing for the punts. A few punt return touchdowns this year. 2 for Trindon Holiday, Percy Harvin, and Jarrell Jernigan. None for any of our guys, which is too bad, so sad. On a Pro Bowl and awards now. From there, we'll go to the standings. From there, we'll go straight into player progression. Roster moves, just check that out. Very little to report there, and then we will finish up the season by simulating our playoff games. So here we go. Yearly awards. We already know the total here. Wan'Dale, MVP. Gotta love it. From there, Coach of the Year. Unfortunately, not Gus Bradley. Reason being, Chad Masters, a.k.a. Bill Belichick, went 16-0 this season. The Patriots, as they did in 2007, finished the year with a perfect record. We'll see how things go in the playoffs, but as it stands, despite a very impressive 14-2 record, the Jags will not be the number 1 seed this year in the playoffs. They will be the number 2 seed in the AFC. The road to the playoffs goes through Foxborough. Offensive Player of the Year, Wan'Dale takes that as well over Tom Brady. Defensive Player of the Year, Derek Johnson of the Chiefs, taking that. Jags on the list. Actually, I should go back to the Offensive Player of the Year. Jags on the list the rest of the way down. Randall Cobb got 5th. Justin Blackmon 7th in voting. Offensive Rookie of the Year, no Jags to report. Aside from Bari Suber, way down at the bottom of the list, that award went to Othniel Richmond of the San Diego Chargers. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Herman Lovett of the Bengals. No one to report here from the Jags' best QB, Juan Delian. Guess who? Again, finishing above Tom Brady. Credit to Blaine Gabbert of the Browns, former Jag, who finished down there in 7th. Best running back of the campaign for the AFC, Jaguars, Denard Robinson finishing 7th. Wide receiver, Randall Cobb, Justin Blackmon, 1-2 punch. Eric Decker finishing 3rd. He belongs to the Patriots. Best offensive lineman, Nate Solder, finishing just above Luke Jokel and Rob Hardy. Would have loved to see those guys in there. Mosley, Cross, Campbell, Monroe also finishing on the list. Best defensive lineman, J.J. Watt, finishes just above Earl Zo Shorter, which sucks. It makes you wonder what Shorter could have done had he stayed healthy this season. DeMarcus Ware also finishing there on the list at 8th. Best DB, Dwayne Gratz, takes the award home. Gotta love it, though. He will likely be gone in free agency this offseason. It's wonderful for him to take that award home as a Jag. Best kicker, Blair Walsh there. Justin Tucker coming in at 4th. I will quickly run down the NFC numbers. Offensive Player of the Year, LaShawn McCoy. You can check out the rest of the list for yourselves. Brad Jones, Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie, Keshawn Fields. Defensive Rookie, Damian Jacko. Quarterback, Matt Ryan, followed by Griffin, Manning, Rodgers, and Stafford. Running back, LaShawn McCoy again, followed by Wilson, Lynch, Brown, and Martin. Wide receiver, Cruz, Baldwin, Jones, Garcon, and Johnson. Offensive line, Yanda, Staley, Veldheer, Davis, and Ott. Defensive line, Pierre-Paul, Gibson, Suggs, Frias, and more. DBs, DeCow, Jacko, Chancellor, Godfrey, and Shields. And then best kicker, Dan Bailey, Connor Barth, Kai Forbath, Steven Goskowski, and Kerry Loth. On now to the Pro Bowl votes. We'll go through the AFC nice and quickly, then the NFC very quickly. Quarterbacks, Juan Delian, Tom Brady, Joe Flacco. Halfbacks, Trent Richardson, Lamar Miller, Alfred Morris, and Kari Tayi, rookie out of no college. Fullback, Peyton Poshis, Marcel Reese, gotta love the Jags there. Blackman and Cobb, top 2 wide receivers in the AFC, accompanied by Stevie Johnson, Eric Decker, Roddy White, Golden Tate, and Danny Amendola. Tight ends, Gronkowski, Carrier, and Pitta. Tackles, Solder, Campbell. Guards, Iapudi, and Cross. Centers, Rob Hardy, J.D. Walton. Right guards, Cannon and Boone. Right tackles, Vollmer and Jokel. Defensive line, J.J. Watt, Justin Houston. Beckett, Schultz, DeMarcus Ware, Mike Martin, Kenny Magazu, and Marcel Darius. Linebacking core, Von Miller, Mark Anderson, Derek Johnson, Brian Cushing, Manny Lawson, and Markevius Mingo. Corners, Derek Cox, Stephen Gilmore, Dwayne Gratz, and Demetrius McCray. Starting safeties, Morgan Burnett and Rashad Jones. The backups there, Aaron Williams and Bernard Pollard. Kicker, Justin Tucker and Chaz Henry, the punter. That means we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Jaguars on the Pro Bowl team. Pretty freaking exciting considering the number we had in our first season and second season. Pretty amazing that we get 12 guys on the list. NFC, Griffin, Manning, Ryan are the quarterbacks. And I'm just going to go down really quickly for you guys to check out the names that you see. Some guys are actual players in the league. Most are at this point still. Some of them are fictional players. Also, you got to love Jason Slowey, former Jaguar, sitting there at the center spot. He was traded along with William Campbell, a backup right guard, and a 4th rounder for wide receiver Randall Cobb. Now, that's a trade that I think some people would say, well, clearly we stole it. I think the reality is I think we made a great trade, but it also probably was a great trade for the Packers. Sometimes trades are mutually beneficial, and I think that was one that was. Quickly go through the stats now. Final standings now in the AFC. We'll start in the North. 10-6 Ravens make the playoffs. Browns narrowly miss. 7-9 Steelers and Bengals finish 6-10. In the South, Jaguars take it 14-2. Titans also with an impressive season, 10-6. They make the playoffs as a wild card. Texans 7-9. Colts in the toilet, 4-12. In the East, Patriots 16-0. Run the table. Very impressive season. Obviously, the second team ever to do that in the modern era. First being the 2007 Patriots, second being the 2016 Patriots. Dolphins 7-9, Bills 5-11, Jets 4-12. West, Chiefs 7-9, Broncos 7-9. 2 7-9 teams make the playoffs. That is disgusting. Chiefs get a home playoff game despite winning 7 games. That's awful. Chargers 6-10, Raiders 6-10 as well. NFC North now. Packers and Bears 11-5, both make the playoffs. Lions 7-9, Vikings 6-10. NFC South, Falcons 13-3, Panthers 6-10, Bucks 6-10, Saints 4-12. NFC East, another 2 playoff games coming out of this one. Giants 13-3, Redskins 11-5, Eagles finish 8-8, Cowboys 5-11. NFC West, 49ers best the Seahawks, 11-5 for the 49ers, 10-6 for the Hawks. Mounties do not make the playoffs despite finishing above 500. Cards in the toilet at 3-13. As you can see, Patriots obviously sitting atop the league with an outstanding 16-0 record. Pretty outstanding what they're able to do. Fortunately, though, I will quickly point out points for and against. We finish atop the league easily with 561 points for. That's almost 100 better than the Falcons, who are second best. Points against, we also finish on top of the list. 249 against. That's 4 less than the Patriots. Much closer, obviously, there. But still pretty amazing that we're able to finish with the most points for, least against. Very impressive, if you ask me. Quickly on to player progression and roster moves. From there, we will go ahead and finish off this campaign. Thank you for bearing with me. This should take no more than 2 or 3 minutes. We had a shit ton of points to spend on some of our guys who were able to accomplish amazing things. Starting off at the QB spot, Wandelian. QB spot. Wandelian up to a 95 overall. He had 60,000 points to spend between his second half of the season, his progression, his practice points, and then also the extra points he was awarded for hitting his yearly milestones, getting his MVP award, Offensive Player of the Year award, AFC Quarterback of the Year award. Gotta love what he's able to do. His throwing arm is truly incredible at this point. His awareness way up to 96. By far and away one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And, hey, if he keeps this pace up for another season, maybe one of the best to ever play the game. Who knows? Matt Scott, 86. Ronald Barker up to 85. Credit to those guys. Halfback Denard Robinson up to 86 from 83 at the midway point. Ridley up to 85 for 82. I do not know why Ridley's number keeps fluctuating so much, but it is what it is. Suber up to 83 from 81. Armstrong up into the 80s. Gotta love that. Fullback Marcel Reese still keeping it real. Wide receivers Randall Cobb up to 95. So dominant, so good. Blackman 92. Haskell 90. You can see just how loaded we are right now at this position. Shorts is our 4th receiver, and he's good enough to be starting on most teams. Hell, he's good enough to be the number 1 option on most teams. Fuller, 83. Banks, our returner, 74. And Canary, who gets into the 3rd tight end spot, 73. Tight ends, Carrier, 91. Up from 85. That's pretty outstanding. Gates down to 77. But again, a guy who's mostly there for his awareness, his veteran capabilities. Campbell up to 92. And you can see here again the amazing amount of depth we have. Eugene Monroe, 91. He spent most of the year playing out of position, aside from when Campbell was hurt. But he's an extremely valuable part of this offensive line to be able to dink and dunk around there to compensate for injuries. Marcel Jones, 82, up from 81. Keith and Cross into the 90s. Gotta love it. Rob Hardy becoming slowly one of the best centers in the entire National Football League, up to 94 from 92 at just the age of 23. That's ridiculous. Brandon Mosley still sitting at a 90. Brandon Brooks up into the 80s at 81. That offseason acquisition doing very nicely. Luke Jokel, 95. Gabe Vizioso up to 89 as a rookie out of Hastings College. Vizioso was not a top pick, but my goodness, he has developed gorgeously for us. Earl's Shorter, as you can see, up to 93, which is great, up from 91. Sadly, though, he is injured. Ray Edwards will serve as the backup for him right now, though the starter in his place will be Andre Branch, playing out of position. He's up to 86 from 83. I look forward to see what he's capable of doing in the playoffs. Ware up to 96 from 95. Defensive tackles, Linval Joseph, currently hurt. He will miss our first playoff game, and if we make it to the conference championship game, he will miss that one as well, unfortunately. He's sitting at 93, unchanged from earlier this year. Jesse Williams up to 92 from 91. Fortunately, he's healthy. The big man out of Alabama doing great things. Von Martin up to 85 from 83. He's getting a lot of playing time right now because of the injury to Joseph. Hopefully he continues his nice play in the playoffs. Diederich at 83. Outside linebacker Wesley Woodyard on the left-hand side, up to 88 from 87. Stanford up to 85 from 82. Felix Atwater, our first pick from this past draft, up to 81 from 79. Look for him to maybe start next season, depending on what's available in free agency. Washington up to 97 from 93. He is now a 99 tackler, which is pretty outstanding. Amazing what he's capable of. Donald Butler, 82, as the backup is solid. Right outside linebacker, Xavier Good, 93 overall, up from 91. Buey sitting at 73 from 72, the rookie out of Boise State. Corners, we got Gratz at 95. That's up from 93. Jefferson, 93 from 92. McCray, 92 from 92. That's the same. Greenwood, who just re-upped with us, up to 92 from 91. Van Dyke, up to 87 from 86. Jeremy Harris, 86. Good up from 85. Amazing how much talent we have here. Unfortunately, we're going to lose some just because we cannot afford to keep them all. But a credit to these guys who work so hard, have gotten so far. Antoine Blake up to 95 from 92. His backup, Josh Evans, just re-signed this past offseason. He's up to 86. Strong safety, Jonathan Cypher, the rookie sensation, up to 93 from 91. Brzezinski, 90 overall as the backup safety. You got to love what he can do, up from 88. Kicker, Justin Tucker at 95. He is the most accurate kicker in the league at 99. Kick power, 96. So dominant, you got to love it. Carter Porter up to 89 as the punter, not that that's totally relevant. And boom, as you can see here, these picks are now finalized aside from the Chicago Bears pick. We will have the 6th and 11th picks of next year's draft. The Tampa Bay pick coming up to us for the Thaddeus Gibson trade in Carolina. Pardon me, I cannot for the life of me remember where that came from at the moment. If you guys remember, leave it in the comments. Moving on. Carolina pick. Right. That comes from the first overall selection we traded away last year that we lucked out getting in the trade for Andre Branch and the Dallas Cowboys. All right. Now it's the time you've all been waiting for. We're going to advance week. I would have done this earlier, advance the divisional round, but I wanted to show you that beautiful news piece about Wan'Dale taking home the beautiful MVP award. I've decided we're going to forego practices for the first time in this entire series just to keep it going. I don't want to take those little breaks to record or to away from recording to do the practices. I just want to get into the playoff games. My goodness, I love it. I want to get into it. Top-ranked offense, top-ranked defense. Jacksonville Jaguars about to host Joe Flacco and the Ravens in the divisional round. Winner advances to the conference championship. We're going to forego, again, first time in the entire history of this series that I will be skipping a practice. Divisional playoff has been simulated. Boom. Advance week. Fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. You're seeing this live with me. At least not literally live, but you're seeing it in real time, my actual reaction. And oh no, this does not look good. We got progressed players. We got staff re-signing. Please tell me this team did not drop its first playoff game. Please tell me it did not drop its first playoff game. We got to get that playoff game up there, folks. We got to get that on the advance. And my goodness, this team drops its first playoff game. Nightmare. Nightmare, folks. Team schedule. Let's check out the box score. What happened? Postseason at home. Divisional playoff game. Jags lose 34-27 at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens. Unbelievable. Wan'Dale, 331 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Flacco slightly better, 234, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Running the ball, Ray Rice, wow, not a lot of yardage, but a ton of carries. 27 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. Darrell Richardson, very nice game, 70 yards off 7 carries. 1 touchdown. Robinson in what is going to be his last game as the Jaguars, 60 yards off 16 carries, 1 touchdown, but a fumble. Hate that. Receiving wise, Carrier leads the game. Wow. Leads the game with 11 catches, which is great. Manningham, though, led the entire game in receiving. 10 catches, 121 yards, 1 touchdown. Cobb had a nice game. Blackman had a nice game, combining for just under 180 yards and a touchdown, 16 catches, but just wasn't enough. Demaryius Thomas, 6 catches, 52 yards and a touchdown. Haskell, a nice game, but just was not enough. Blocking-wise, what happened here? No sacks allowed by either team. Arthur Brown, Matt Elam, Jabal Sheard, leading the game in tackles for the Ravens. Rookie sensation Jonathan Cyprin, leading the Jags with 9. Sacks in this one, just none. Without Earl Shorter, the Jags unable to get any pressure on the quarterback. 2 picks in this one go to Dwight Lowry, Dwayne Gratz. Kicking-wise, both kickers, 2 of 2. Nothing doing there. Punting-wise, Carter Porter actually bested Chris Jones in each of their 5 punts. Punt returns, nothing to report. The one thing I have in my mind, if we got forced fumbles, we got fumble recoveries. Jamal Sheard had a fumble recovery, did not return it for a touchdown, but my goodness, Dwayne Gratz had a pick 6 in this one. Credit to him. But wow, that forced fumble hurts. My goodness. Let's go to the box score, actually. I've just backed out of it. I'd like to go back and check out the box score. I don't normally do that, but I would love to see the story of the game from that side. See if we can piece what happened together. I guess they don't show us the order of the scores, which is too bad. But my goodness, yeah, we lead in yards, passing wise, not rushing wise, but we have the more first downs. But returns were not a factor in this one. But turnovers 2-1. That's what kills us. They were better than we were on 3rd down, but we were better than them on 4th down. Both teams perfect in the red zone. We did kick a field goal when they had a touchdown. And I guess really the only part of the story we can really try to gather from this game was that the Ravens, 14 points in the 4th quarter, we had 3. We had them on the wall after a very nice 3rd quarter in which we outscored them 7-0. Would have at that point had a nice 4-point lead instead. We would have had a 4-point lead. That's correct. I can do math sometimes, but just unfortunately nothing doing. Wow, heartbreaking end to a promising season from these Jacksonville Jaguars. Rough. My goodness, we may as well simulate out the rest of the season, see what's going on. Let's check out the league schedule, see what's going on with the New England Patriots. And as you can see, the Patriots get knocked off as well. Wow. 2 upsets in the AFC. The Chiefs, the lowly Chiefs who we destroyed, who are 7-9 this season. Chiefs in their first playoff game hosted the Titans, our division rival, won by 1 stinking point. Then they go into New England, defeat the undefeated New England Patriots, 24-21. Wow. Baltimore, and as you can see, actually all 4 games are upsets. All 4 home teams lose. 49ers went into New York, beat the Giants by 3. Redskins went into Atlanta, beat the Falcons 27-26. Wow. Pretty amazing stuff. Who would have guessed it? And as much as that sucks, it's that's the way it goes sometimes. I think we're going to make every attempt to re-sign Gus Bradley as our head coach. No reason not to. I don't care if there are other coaches out there who have higher levels. Gus Bradley, he wants his rate doubled. I'm happy to do that. We are a very wealthy football team, not exceedingly wealthy, but he wants 6 a year. We'll give him 6.5. Make that offer, and aside from that, we got to make an offer to our trainer, and we will do that. He's making 100. Let's give him 150, just because you may as well. Trainers make almost nothing, so we make those offers, and that is probably the last action we have to take really for the season. We'll advance a week to the Pro Bowl. From there, we will see who's in the Super Bowl, hopefully on the news page. And then after that, we'll see what happens in the Super Bowl. Again, on the news page. Re-signed Coach Gus Bradley is back. Not unexpected, but very much appreciated having him back for our final season. And then Orlin Weinstock back as our trainer. And we will advance week to the Super Bowl. Very interested to see who takes it. One of the things this game does really poorly is showing you just straight up who has won the Super Bowl, but we'll work towards that, finding that information. news feed, you can see here the Redskins and Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl. Wow, Redskins and Chiefs. The Chiefs 7-9, yet in the Super Bowl. Wow. Hard to even fathom that. Let's go ahead to the offseason, and likely we'll have to go under coaching stats, if nothing else, to find out who won the game. But we should be able to do that, at which point we'll call this video finished. Wow. Disappointing ending to a very promising season for this squad. Just too bad. Really, really hope that this Jaguars team, after finishing the season with a Super Bowl loss last season, that we'd be able to take this season, go over the top one more step. But fortunately, what this does is it sets us up for a promising finish next year. We are, of course, going into the final season of this series. This series, the goal was take 5 seasons, turn the Jacksonville Jaguars into and wow, Kansas City takes it all. John Fox and the Kansas City Chiefs takes it. Wow, they take the championship game despite finishing 7-9 in the regular season. Credit to the Chiefs. Hell, I said it when we were going through the standings. The Chiefs don't deserve the playoffs because of their lackluster record, and wow, they finish on top of the entire NFL. They defeat an undefeated team, the Pats. Wow, they look so terrible. We hammered them this past year. And as you can see, AFC West, they win the division with a 7-9 record. Wow, just wow. They even lost 3 straight games on the way out. They were sitting at 7-6. They lose out the regular season. Their point differential was worse than -100. Yet they take the Super Bowl. Wow. Unbelievable. Never would have thought that to be the case. But hey, that brings us to the end of the video and the end of the 2016 season. Next video will come next Monday, episode number 13. That'll be the final off-season video, and then boom, 2 more episodes cataloging the final season of this Jacksonville Jaguars series. We'll see you for next Monday. Until then, I'm Tuxedo T-Shirt. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm out.